Ladies and gentlemen, to Motive Racing for another night of action here in the GTE Championship. This is round 3 of the season here at Hockenheim GP. We're currently running in our final practice session of the evening before the sprint race is set to get underway. So if anybody's new to Motive Racing for this season, pretty much what we do here is we have a quick 10-minute practice session just so these guys can get their eye in and get a feeling for the track conditions, and then following that we have got a sprint. Oh, as we see Rompu getting all sorts of sideways there, coming up towards turn 2 and taking the polystyrene with him. Oh my goodness me, boy, he definitely looks like he is driving on ice there. So not the way Rompu would have wanted to start that final run of the session, but he brings it into the pits. But yeah, as I was saying, so pretty much the sprint race is a reverse grid based on the championship standings coming into the round. So we've had 2 rounds so far. Those 2 rounds, whatever the championship standings are after those 2 rounds, is effectively reversed, and then that's the starting order for this grid tonight. So just a quick run through of the grid we're expecting here for this one. So we're expecting Mazda to be lining up on pole position. Mazda's our reserve for this evening, and he gets the luxury of being able to start at the very front of the grid, which is great to see. We've also got so Nicky's not turning up, so that will promote DJ Phil up onto the front row alongside Mazda. Then we've got Dwayne Bop and Smokey Devil lining up on row 2, 3rd and 4th positions. Oh, as we see Fury, they're getting sideways. Fury, incidentally, is set to start on the 3rd row alongside Rompu. Then Zande will be in 7th with Ugbar alongside him in 8th place. We're going to have Ian with Cinderella Tour on the 5th row. 6th row is going to be Camber and G. And then on the 7th and final row, 13th and 14th positions, we're going to have Maz and Flaky, the 2 high flyers in this championship. So we're all set. We're about to go racing here for the sprint race. We've got dry conditions for this one, thank goodness for that. So hopefully everyone will be able to get through the first corner unscathed. And obviously it's going to be a rolling start, so it's slightly easier to get ourselves into gear. So obviously the order that you see in the top left hand corner will not be the order that we're actually in once we get going for this one. It's going to be very different once we actually once we come around the last corner to start what will be the first racing lap. But I'm sure it's going to be an interesting race, and stay tuned guys. I'm sure we're in for an absolute treat here live on the Motive Racing channel. Guys, if you're new to the Motive Racing or you're watching on Facebook, be sure to check out our YouTube stream. I'm going to just pop that in the comments down below now. Got a few comments coming in. Simpe Motorsport saying all sorts of sideways. Wonder where we got that from. Keegan Welsh in the comments section. Always good to have Keegs. was very vocal in the comments section on Saturday night for the LMP2s, which was a bit of fun. Not often something you will see every day here on the Motive Racing channel, but certainly a much needed break from the seriousness of what we usually have here on this sim racing channel here on the PlayStation 4 platform. But back to the usual drill here in this GTE Championship. Hopefully we're going to have a great race. Smurf G says, good luck everybody, good luck Ugbar, good evening everybody, welcome along Smurf G, good to have you in the comments section. Fury's granddad voicing his support once again for Fury in this one. Hopefully Fury gives a good outing here this time out, and it looks like we're about to go lights out for this formation lap here. So as I said, everybody's just going to get into the order that we're supposed to be in based on based on the current championship standings coming into this round. So we're going to have Mazda making his way to the front of the pack. Then we're going to have DJ Phil getting behind him, Dwayne Bop, Smokey Devil in 3rd and 4th. Fury's going to be 5th. Then we're going to have Rompu behind him in 6th. Zande will be lining up 7th with Ugbar just behind him in 8th place. Ian will line up in 9th with Cinderella Tour alongside him. Camber and the only G will share the 6th row, and then Maz and Flaky will make up the final part of this grid. So guys, if you are new to the channel, I just want to say be sure to slap a like on this video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you want to see more action like this, as these guys just coming through towards turn 2. So getting themselves into order, making sure that they keep the tyres and the engines up to temperature. Looks like we've had a retirement from the race already here, so I'm not quite sure who that is. We're going to try and run through the order and get some eyes on this one, because it would appear that DJ Phil is already out of this race, which hopefully isn't going to cause too much confusion. I would imagine everybody can try and figure it out from there, that they're all going to have to move up one position, you would imagine. So Mazda's now going to lead this pack, Dwayne Bop 2nd. We're going to have Smokey Devil lining up in 3rd place with Fury in 4th. Cinderella Tour is meant to be starting down in P10, so I'm not quite sure what he's doing in P5. He should be down in 10th. Zande should be in 6th, so we should be seeing... I'm not really sure what's going on here, guys. So we should be seeing Rompu making his way up ahead of Cinderella Tour. I don't know what Rompu's doing here, but Rompu should be in 5th. So Rompu P5, then we're going to have Zande in P6. Ugbar's going to line up 7th with Ian behind him in 8th. Cinderella Tour should be down in 9th, I believe. Camber in 10th. The only G will be lining up 11th in this one. Maz 12th, and Flaky in 13th and last place. So Rompu looks like he's finally caught on to his starting position here. He moves up into 5th, so I think we're pretty much in our starting order here. It's Ugbar. Ugbar needs to swap places with Zande. So Ugbar should be in 7th. Zande, you need to move up into P6, son. What are you doing? Zande, P6. Come on, man, work it out. It's not hard. Come on. So Zande there, unfortunately letting the side down, messing it up on this formation lap. So hopefully these guys are going to get round in time. The front of the pack is just coming into the last sector now, the second part of the stadium section. So we should be moments away here from the start of round 3 here, the sprint race here at Hockenheim for Motive Racing's GTE Championship. Mazda leading them round, driving in the Ferrari by the looks of it. He was in the Porsche during the practice sessions, but he's opted to go for the 488, which is entirely up to him. Obviously, as a reserve, he has pretty much a free car choice. Dwayne Bot behind him in the Ford GT. You've got Smokey Devil there in the Chevy in 3rd. Fury in his customary now Ford GT lining up in 4th place. Rompu also in the Ford in 5th. Zande in the Chevy. Ugbar in the Chevy as well. We've got Ian lining up in the Ferrari. Camber in the Ford. Cinderella in the Ford. G in the Ford. Maz in the Ferrari, and Flaky in the Chevy. And here we go, we're about to go racing here at Hockenheim. We're under the lights and we are moments away from the start of the race. Mazda, when he wants to put his foot to the floor, will be underway here. And we are green here at Hockenheim for round 3 of the season. Looks like Mazda gets a good fight off the line immediately. Drainy Bob already having to defend from Smoky Devil and Fury coming into turn 1. Zande's already up into P5 ahead of Rumpu by the looks of it. Oakbar is still in 7th place. Ian, Camber, Cinderella Tour, G's got ahead of Cinderella Tour up into P10 by the looks of it in the background there. Maz and Flaky still as he were there. But Mazda getting a good start off the line there. And Fury has made an absolutely electric start to this race. He's up into P2 already. What a start from Fury here at the beginning of this one. Drainy Bob up into 3rd. Looks like Rumpu's got ahead of Zande back up into 4th place there. Oakbar up into 6th, and it looks like somebody's had him off on Camber's down to 8th. It looks like G's had a spin. The only G already into problems here at the start of this race. He's down to 13th and last place here in the opening few corners, but Mazda still holding on to the lead just ahead of Fury to come into the hairpin. Looks like Drainy Bob there in the background trying to fend off Rumpu and Emo guy. Looks like Ian's looking to the inside. Ian making a fantastic move to the inside there, getting a couple of positions there, and it looks like Oakbar's getting pushed out wide on the exit of the hairpin. He's been pushed out by Rumpu and Zande. Maz trying to get involved in the action as well. What a start from Maz up into 8th place here on the first lap. Fantastic driving there from Maz. And Fury has managed to get himself up into P1 here, up ahead of Mazda. Great driving from Fury CBK. He is always electric on the first lap and once again showing his talent in the opening stages of races. And it looks like somebody's round. Is that Oakbar? It is. No, it's not. It's not Oakbar. It's Camber. I do apologise, it was a yellow car, not an orange car. Camber's round in the background. He's lost lots of time, but Fury holding on to this lead at the moment ahead of Mazda. Drainy Bob just trying to fend off Ian at the moment. Ian has made a fantastic start to this race. He's up into 4th place already, and he's one of the other guys who always seems to make inroads on the opening lap. Rumpu running in 5th, trying to fend off Zande, Maz and Flaky. Flaky is also making good progress at the start of this race, but G would not have wanted that at all. He's already lost the march on his title rivals here in this one. Maz and Flaky both up into 7th and 8th respectively. It's not been a start that G would have wanted here to this one, but Fury leads the way and he's pulled out 1.3 seconds at the moment to Mazda in P2. Drainy Bob trying to fend off Ian coming into turn 2, but looks like he's a little bit too far back, is Ian, to make that move. Rumpu running in 5th, Maz in 6th. We've got Flaky there just behind these guys. Oakbar, Cinderella Tour, Camber trying to fend off Zande, and Zos happened to Zande. Zande has fallen back into 11th place. I didn't see what happened to him there, but he's obviously had enough somewhere. He's now got G crawling all over the back of him, and Smoky Devil is down to 13th place as well. Oh, so unfortunate for Smoky Devil there, but Fury pulling out the gap to Emo 2. It looks like Drainy Bob and Emo guy looking to the outside of Drainy Bob. Mazda's lost 2 positions there. Mazda down to 4th place. He's got Maz just all over the back of him at the moment, but Ian has got himself up ahead of Mazda there, and he's all over the back of Drainy Bob now. So Ian eyeing up that P2 position here in the early stages of this race. We've got Flaky there in the background. He's got ahead of Cinderella Tour and Oakbar. Looks like Oakbar is going a little bit wide there, trying to get past Cinderella Tour. You've got Rumpu in the background there. Oh, looks like Oakbar's got a lot on the brakes, and he goes charging into Cinderella Tour, and Oakbar's going to have to wait there because that was that was on the limit there from Oakbar, and unfortunately it didn't pay off for him. So Oakbar there, very sportsmanlike, allowing Cinderella Tour to regain the position, but that was dodgy there from Oakbar, I've got to say. Drainy Bob still fending off Ian, in the battle for 2nd and 3rd places at the moment. Mazda just behind these guys, waiting in the wings. You've got Maz also crawling over the back of these guys as well, and Flaky currently sat in 6th place at the moment. He's dropped off of that train a little bit as Flaky over this last lap or so. So I don't know what's happened to him there, but Fury starting his 4th lap here with a 3.6 second lead. Fury absolutely flying tonight. Drainy Bob and Mazda with Maz all over him. Flaky currently sat in 6th place. Then you got Rumpu and Camber sat in 7th and 8th, still battling over that position. Camber trying to bounce back from that spin that we saw coming into the stadium section a couple of laps ago. G has made some good recovery so far in this race. He's up into 9th place. He's closing on to this battle here for 7th and 8th. And it looks like Camber making a move to the inside here. Rumpu up into turn 2. Is he going to pull it off? It looks like we're side by side there. He pushed him a little bit wide, and Rumpu managing to hold on the position on the outside. Fantastic driving there from Rumpu. Brilliant defensive driving, and Ian's lost it. Ian is into the barriers there, coming out onto the back straight. It looks like he's lost the positions there to Rumpu, Camber, and G is surely going to have that position as well. So Ian down 3 positions there. Well, more than 3 positions, but we saw him just lose those 3 positions there on the camera. And Rumpu still defending to the inside of the hairpin. Looks like he's managing to hold on ahead of Camber just about, but Camber is really pressuring Rumpu at this point. What fantastic racing we are seeing in the opening couple of laps here at Hockenheim. Absolutely on the edge stuff here, edgy as these. And Smoky Devil and Oakbar, look, they're going side by side here up towards the end of the straight. Is Ugbar going to have this move on the inside of Smoky Devil? It looks like, oh sorry, the outside even, and Ugbar looks like he drives clean around the outside of him. Smoky Devil not giving him too much of a fight in that regard. So Ugbar up into 11th place there, but he goes wide on the exit. Oh no, and Ugbar's lost it, and Smoky Devil immediately regains the position there. Ugbar just having all sorts of issues here at the start of this race. He has had a couple of spins and it's just not really hooked up for him since that incident with Cinderella Tour. He has gone nothing but backwards here at the beginning of this race, but Fury leads by 4 seconds at the moment over Dwayne Bop and Maz. They're still having a battle at the moment. Looks like they're bumper to bumper here coming up towards turn 1, but Maz still can't get around him at the moment. Still as you were, Flaky a couple of seconds behind those guys. Mazda dropping back down the field after starting this one on pole. He was battling it out with Fury at the very early stages, but Fury got that position and has not looked back since. Camber running in P6 with G just behind him, but G still unable to make that move on Camber at the moment. Rompu in the background having been passed by both those guys down in 8th place, and he's got Ian crawling over the back of him as well. Ian's going to want to try and respond to that incident that we saw about a lap or so ago, and he's going to try and make progress back up into a prominent position here in this race. Cinderella Tour rounding down in P10 after that collision with the Flying Dutchman. Smoky Devil obviously ahead of Ugbar after Ugbar's looked like he had that move done a lap ago, but had that spin on the exit of the corner. These guys have now got Zande closing in on him as well, so they're going to have to watch out because Zande's definitely looking quick here, although he is down in P13 having made that incident on the opening lap, which we saw him drop down to last place very early on. But Fury still leading this race. 4.6 is his gap, and it's increasing ever more the more time that Maz spends behind Dwayne Bop. But it looks like Maz has actually got ahead of Dwayne Bop up into P2, so Maz making progress now. Dwayne Bop has got Flaky very much in attendance here. We're going to ride on board with Flaky and see what he's seeing as he tries to move up the inside here of the stadium section, and he goes there on the brakes. Oh, has he overcut it? No, he hasn't. Brilliant move there from Flaky. That was incredible. He had barely any space on the inside, but he well and truly committed himself down the inside, hugged the white line on the left hand side of the track, and he's up into 3rd place now, into the podium spots, a second behind Maz, 5 seconds off of the race leader Fury, who has well and truly run off into the distance here in the opening few laps here at Hockenheim. Fury's granddad is going to be pretty chuffed with that, I would imagine. Fury is really flying in the early stages of this race. Maz still sat in P2 just ahead of Flaky here on the track, but Flaky's very much keeping himself in this battle for a second at the moment. Oh, as we see him going a little bit wide there out of the corner, it looks like he's lost a bit of time. Well, that was Dwayne Bop, sorry, Lewis, going wide there onto the exit of the curve, but in the end he's still keeping these guys just about within sight at the moment. But Flaky's lost about a second to Maz in this battle for P2 and 3. Both of these guys closing in on the race leader Fury now that they're in clear air though, so Maz could potentially be the party pooper for Fury here in this sprint race tonight. Let's look back and see what's going on. Mazda's trying to defend from Camber and G. These guys are all over the back of him now. G is setting fastest laps here at the moment, lapping in the low 1 minute 37s, faster than Fury. Maz and Flaky the front 3, but he's too far behind at the moment to really do anything about it. But Mazda's still keeping Camber and G at base somehow. G had a little look, I thought about going up the inside there, but he wasn't quite close enough to get that move done on Camber. And at the moment he has to stick behind him and stay in that 7th place. Camber trying everything he can to get past Mazda, because the more time he spends behind Mazda, the more vulnerable he is to G in behind. And we see there Camber making a move to the inside, coming into the stadium section. He's got that move as he Mazda all over the curve there on the exit, and now Camber's got to go around a long way if he wants to get this done. It looks like he's not going to be able to do it, and G slots in behind, probably seeing that if he was going to make that 3 wide, that would have been a simply monumental accident involving all of them. And Mazda somehow holds on to that P5 position. Great defensive driving, but we see Camber making another move to the inside, and he finally shoves his nose in there and puts himself into the lead. Ahead of Mazda there, and it looks like with 3 wide coming down the straight. In the end, Camber has that position done on Mazda, and it looks like Mazda goes wide there coming out of turn 1, which is going to allow G to possibly put his nose in coming up towards turn 2. But is he going to have the straight line speed as G? He's going to try and surely go late on the brakes coming into the corner, and in the end Mazda goes a little bit wide, and that is G up in his position, and Camber's gone off. Camber loses it on the exit of turn 3, so he now has been passed back by both of them. G finds himself in P5, gaining 2 positions in 1 corner. Mazda stays P6, but Camber there, after he thought he must have got the job done there on Mazda, finally he ended up losing the car just immediately after having completed that manoeuvre. And we see Camber making a move up the inside of the hairpin, back on Mazda once again, and he's got that position. He's up into P6 now, back on the rear end of G, but G is going to be pretty happy that he's finally got ahead of Camber now. Just been stuck behind him for a few laps here in this race. But the gap at the front is coming down, ladies and gentlemen. Fury and Maz, 1.7 seconds separating these two. Fury's led this race since the opening stages here. He took the lead off of Mazda coming through on the first lap, and he was pulling away at one point, but now that Maz and Flaky are both in clear air, he is very much looking like his victory might be at threat here. Still a little way left to go in this race, 6 minutes on the clock. What is going to happen here? Wouldn't want to be a betting man at this point, I have to say. But Fury currently doing a good job here in this race of keeping onto that lead. 1.5 seconds is his gap at the moment, so he's maintaining on that previous lap. Having said that, Maz was actually a second and a half faster. Flaky, though, wasn't really gaining too much. So I'll tell you what, this is going to be a hell of a task for Fury to keep these two behind him. He just needs to keep his head, make sure that he keeps himself composed, doesn't react to any sudden movements from Maz trying to distract him in the mirrors, if indeed he does get close enough to try and do that. But coming into the hairpin, the thing about Fury is that he might be able to take solace from the fact that Flaky is very much keeping the pressure on Maz, which will possibly prevent Maz from really concentrating on what's ahead of him, because he's obviously going to make sure he keeps Flaky behind him as well. So that could play into the hands of Fury. If Flaky manages to put enough pressure on Maz to distract him, then that could compromise Maz's chances of taking Fury and getting into that P1. But at the moment the gap's just over a second between P1 and 2. Flaky, though, very much on the back of these guys as well. 1.5 seconds separating the top three here, with 5 minutes left to go in this sprint race. What a race this has been so far as well. Captivating from the start until the current point here. And Fury's still holding on to the lead just about by the skin of his teeth. Bop doing a great job here in this one. He's currently running in P4, some good points for him if he can stay where he is at this moment. We've got G still unable to shake off Camber fully at this point, but last lap G was lapping into 1 minute 38, still nowhere near the pace of Maz. But G solid at the moment, and I'm sure he'll be back in the feature race bigger and better than ever before. And a bit of a twitch there from G, but he's pulled out a bit of a gap to Camber on this lap so far. Looks like Flaky's got ahead of Maz up into second place. We didn't catch that on the stream, but Flaky's up into the position. It looks like Maz has gone off. Maz has had a moment there. He's got sideways, presumably, coming through turns 1 and 2. And he's now dropped back now. He's into 4th. Bop is into... Well, it looks like Bop briefly had that 3rd place, but Maz holding on to position and keeping it keeping in that place just about. But Maz there running into problems. So now... that's given Fury a little bit of breathing space here at the front. He's got 2 seconds back to Flaky in P2. Last time around, Flaky was 1.2 seconds faster, but so far on this lap, Fury, it looks like he's responded. So Fury very much not giving up on his quest for the race victory. This would be a fantastic result for Fury if he can take his well, I think it would be his first win in the GTEs if he's able to bring this one home. Don't quote me on that, I'm not absolutely 100%, but I think it would be his first win in this category. But again, don't take that as gospel, because I could be wrong. Looks like Camber still very much on the back of G in this battle for 5th and 6th places. These guys are also closing in on Bop, but with only a couple of laps left to go in this race, it's going to be nip and tuck as to whether or not they catch up to him and are able to take that 4th place away. Maz already pulling out ahead of Bop. Looks like he's going to be good for that 3rd place, and it looks like Flaky has closed right up onto the back of Fury here. Oh my goodness. Last time around, Fury 1 minute 38.2, Flaky 37.7. Flaky is on a mission here in this race. It's going to be very close as to whether or not we have 1 or 2 more laps here in this race. These guys crossed the line. I think they had 3:05 on the clock. So I reckon this should be the penultimate lap of the race. Fury is going to be ordering that checkered flag to come as soon as possible, with just half a second separating these guys. I think we've got 1.5 laps left to go as these guys come up down towards the hairpin. Flaky making a move to the inside, but Fury's not going to take that bait. He's keeping calm and composed and not being faced one bit by Flaky's distraction techniques there in his rear view mirrors at the moment. Fury doing a brilliant job here of holding on to this lead, and he's done everything right so far in this race. As Fury's led from the start, made a brilliant getaway, got away ahead of Mazda, and he's just done a solid job out the front, has managed the pace, hasn't pushed himself beyond his limits. He's just kept himself to himself and driven a fantastic race, and he's currently got the lead to show for it with just over a lap left to go. Flaky making another move to the inside, but Fury having absolutely none of it at the moment. Absolutely brilliant driving from Fury as Flaky gets a little bit wide, almost onto the gravel there. You saw Flaky very close to binning the car there as they came out of the stadium section. So that just goes to show how hard Flaky's pushing at the moment. He'll be getting a bit frustrated. He knows he's only got a lap to get this move done on Fury, but Fury looking very much in the box seat here as these guys start the final lap at Hockenheim for the sprint race for round 3 of Motive Racing's GTE Championship. What a race we've had so far. It's not over yet. In the meantime, looks like G and Cam are still battling over 5th and 6th at this point. They've got, looks like, actually Cam dropped off a little bit. There's Ian in the background just coming around in 7th place. But back to this battle for P1. Fury still keeping Flaky behind him. Only just though. This is so nail-bitingly close between these boys as they come now down towards the hairpin for the final time here in this sprint race. Flaky flashing his lights there at Fury. But Fury's going to surely get, it's going to be extra incentive for him. As Flaky makes a move to the inside, late on the brakes coming into the hairpin. But Fury's going to surely try and undercut him. And you see a bump in the back there from Fury. And Flaky has made that move up into P1. He left it until the final lap. He knew he had to get it done there and then. And Flaky sent one up the inside and has got himself up into P1. Can Fury fight back here in the final half a lap of this race? Flaky surely is going to bring this one home now after chasing him down, after working him out and eventually making that move. Really well done from Flaky in taking that position. That's got to really hurt for Fury though, after leading for pretty much the entirety of that race. I'm just noticing, guys, on the screen top left, Flaky has a penalty. So could Flaky potentially lose this race win? Coming in towards the final section of the lap now. Flaky 67 coming out of the last corner to take the win on the track here at Hockenheim. But who's going to be the race winner? Flaky just about holds on for the win there, so he managed to pull out that 1 second gap when it was needed. Maz coming over in P3. Commiserations to Fury there, bringing it home in P2 in that race. But he put up a hell of a fight there. Maz P3. Draney comes over in 4th place. We've got Ian finishing in 5th. And it looks like G bins it into the wall as he came over the line in the background there. Camber's obviously passed him on that last lap up into P6. G 7th. Cinderella Total finishes in 8th place there. We've got Rompu crossing the line in 9th place. Good drive from Rompu. Good, some good points there. Zande pinning it into the wall on the exit of the last corner in P10. The Flying Dutchman crossing the line in 11th after a torrid start to that race for him. Really unfortunate there for Opa. Smoky Devil coming in towards the final part of the lap now. And he's going to bring it home in 12th place. Driving in the blue Chevy. The same livery as Flaky, the race winner. And that's a wrap for the sprint race, guys. What a finish to that one. We saw Flaky in the end just managing to edge out Fury in the final knockings of that race. Fury, I'm sure, will be really gutted with how that one went, but he put up a hell of a fight, and I'm sure he'll be back in the feature race. Maz completing the podium. Guys, we'll be back in a couple of minutes time for the feature race qualifying session. Stay tuned, stay around, and if you like what you see, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. We'll see you in a moment. Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel for the feature race qualifying session here. The second fastest lap time session of the night, but obviously the previous one was the practice session, which was preceding the sprint race, which we saw Flaky taking a fantastic win. Very late move there on Fury coming into the final hairpin, and Flaky ended up taking the plaudits. Fury was unlucky, led pretty much the entire race up to that point, but had it snatched from his grasp at the very last second there. I'm sure Fury's going to be wanting to bounce back here in this feature race. We'll be seeing a hell of a performance from this man. You can be 100% certain of that. Driving in his number 59 red Ford GT. We've got a couple of comments coming in the YouTube section. Keegan Welsh asking if I could do some accents. Keegan, I'm really sorry, but that was a one-off. We all had a bit of fun on Saturday night. Fury's granddad suggesting please do not do Welsh. Don't worry, Fury's granddad, I'm not going to be attempting any accents of any kind tonight. Simplay Motorsport saying I didn't do the Welsh any favours. Also, Simplay Motorsport asking Jamie Brazier if there's any space in church after that race, because Mazda had an absolute mare in that sprint race. It really didn't go to plan for him at all. Does he want a meeting with John the Baptist, says Keegan Welsh. Phil Allerton saying not back for my PS4 controller, dropped on the floor first race formation lap and kicked me out. Well, that's DJ Phil there in the comments section. He's not too happy with that one, I'm sure, but he's back in the lobby hopefully for this one. Or he's not in here yet, but hopefully he will be back in with 10 minutes left in this session. He didn't flake out on that one, says Simplay Motorsport. In regards to Flaky there, absolutely not, Simplay Motorsport. Gotta love a bit of flake, haven't you? Keegan Welsh saying, did you get in trouble? No, Kings, I didn't get in trouble, but I don't know, it felt right the other night. Tonight it doesn't. That stuff like that doesn't always come along all the time, do you know what I mean? It's sometimes the situation just calls for it. Simplay Motorsport, don't worry, I'm here all night with the puns. Phil Atherton saying he lost it. But anyway guys, Maz currently sat at top of the leaderboard here in this qualifying session on a 1 minute 35.8. He's got 0.6 of a second back to the man who won the first race of the night, Flaky. He's currently sat on a 1 minute 36.4. We saw him hunting down and eventually making that move up the inside of Fury and taking the race victory. Keegan Welsh saying, I get you. Thank you, Keegs. Fury's granddad saying it was Ian's bad influence that caused me to say all sorts of absolute dross on the mic on Saturday night. You're absolutely right, Fury's granddad. I blame this man here. It's all the fault of Emo Guy 97 for coercing me into... I'm joking here, I'm only joking. But Ian out there at the moment driving in the Ferrari 488. He was commentating alongside me during that fateful LMP2 stream on Saturday night, and we did have a little bit of fun on the mic for sure. As we see, Maz has improved his lap time just by a little bit there. He's gone a fraction faster. He's now almost 0.7 clear of Flaky at the top of the leaderboard. Keegs, I know what you're trying to do with that last comment. I know what you're trying to do, and I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait there, Keegs. Nice try, but no, no. It's not happening. It's not happening. Never again. Flaky coming over the line. Can't improve that time around. Stays P2 in this qualifying session. Zande looks like... Oh, he's had a bit of a moment there as he came out into the stadium section. But he's 1.5 seconds off for the current provisional pole time. Zande he had a bit of a mare in the sprint race. Camber there, currently running in P4 in this session. Our Belgian driver was to show he had the pace in that race in the sprint, was right up the chop of the only G for a lot of it, ended up finishing ahead of him. Let's see what he can do as he comes out of the last turn. Then out onto the pit straight, Camber crosses the line and stays P4 for the time being. Dwayne Bot currently sat in 5th, 2.1 seconds off the pace. Fury sat in 6th at the moment in this qualifying session. The man who finished in P2 in the sprint race will be looking to continue on in that same vein of form. As we see there's a Ferrari just ahead of him. Is that Ian there? It is indeed. So looks like Ian holding up his teammate on his flying lap there. Fury's not going to be happy about that at all. I say teammates, they are actually in different cars, but they do work together throughout the week, trying to they compare setups and ideas, race strategies, etc. You know, they converse a lot. So it's interesting to see that those two currently compromising each other a little bit on their laps. I don't know if they're trying to give each other slipstream, but it's definitely not working out at the moment. They're currently sat in, Ian down in 11th place, Fury currently sat in 7th. Looks like Ian improved to 10th place there with that last lap, but he's really struggling to get his foot in here in his qualifying session. Ian, as mentioned before, he's one of those guys who always goes quicker in the race than he does in quali, and we see there Fury making a move to the inside coming into turn 2. So he's been way through there. Ian flashing his lights, I think, saying go on you go. Good to see harmony between teammates. Flaky currently sat in 2nd in this session at the moment, a little way off at the leader Maz. Zande's coming into the last part of the lap now, into the penultimate corner. Let's see what he can do in the Chevy. Not been the greatest of rounds for Zande so far. Camber goes P3 with that lap, 1.3 seconds off. Zande crosses the line now, can't improve on that previous run. Got a Porsche coming over the line now. In the background, Mazda's changed to the Porsche for this one, and he goes P9 with that last lap. He's a little way off at the top time at this point in the session. Hopefully we'll be seeing improvements from him as this session goes on. Smoky Devil, DJ Phil, well, Smoky Devil's just coming out of the pit box now, but DJ Phil and Rompu both sat in the garage still, so they need to get out there and do a lap pretty sharpish if they want to get any chance of a good starting position here in this one. The Flying Dutchman Ogbar just still sat in the garage as well. He's just emerging now in the orange Chevy, so we'll be seeing a time from him probably just before the end of the session. Maz, the current provisional pole sitter, has brought it into the pits, so he reckons he's done enough by the looks of it. Time will tell us the answer as to whether or not he has, as we have still got a little way left to go here in this quali session. But I want to say good evening to everybody watching us live on the YouTube and Facebook streams. If you're watching on Facebook, check out the YouTube link in the comments section down below. Drop a like on this video and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and if you want to get involved in the on-track action, guys, then go to motiveracing.com. As we can see there, the only G has just moved himself to the top of the leaderboard there, 1/1000 of a second ahead of Maz, so there's fine margins at this point, but G currently showing the way here in this one. And we see him get over the curve a little bit too much coming through turn 2, which has sent him round, so G will not have wanted that at all, but he's currently the man to beat here in this qualifying session, and looks like we've just lost Maz. So just after G toppled his time there, it looks like Maz is seemingly disconnected from the session. Fingers crossed we do get Maz back in as soon as possible, and we can see him get a time in as well. It's going to be pretty close now actually as to whether or not Maz is able to do that. He might not get a timed lap in before we go lights out for this feature race, as we see Flaky just coming through into the final sector now, the second part of the stadium section, driving in the number 28 blue Chevy, dark blue Chevy. See what he's capable of here. We see him keeping it pretty nicely, very tidy, not too much on the ragged edge at the moment. Flaky just smooth out of the last corner, out onto the pit straight. What's it going to be for him? Currently P2 here in this qualifying session, and he can't improve at the moment. Stays P2. He's going to get probably 2 or 3 more runs here as long as he's fueled enough. Let's have a look at his fuel, see what he's got. 7.9 litres, so he'll get enough for 2 more runs, including this one. Fury has improved his start time. He's up into 5th at the moment in this session. Not too bad stuff there from Fury. Camber up into third. He's 9/10 of a second off of that current provisional pole time being set by G. We're just seeing Maz has got himself back into the session here, but has he got enough time to get a lap in with 2 minutes on it? He needs to be leaving the pits in the next 10 seconds, I reckon, if he wants to get around in order to set a lap time here before this feature race. He was on provisional second place before we disconnected, so hopefully we see him getting out very sharpish. It looks like he is off the jacks, but whether or not he's going to be getting out any moment now, we'll have to wait and see. So Flaky currently sat in second here in this quality session. He's just coming through the last corner now. He might have got a bit compromised there by that traffic that we saw as he comes up and over the line now. What's it going to be for Flaky here? It looks like he improves the lap time considerably. He goes half a second quicker, but he's still not able to put it at the top of the leaderboard at the moment. 1/10 of a second shy of provisional poster to the only G. He's going to get one more run here in this session, is Flaky. Before we hit the checker flag of the session, he's not got enough fuel to do 2 more runs, as far as I know. Well, actually, he might do, you know. It's going to be close, but he might just about be fueled for another lap after this. It's going to be nip and tuck for Flaky. Where's Maz? Maz is out on the track. We're about to see, just coming into the hairpin now. Maz might just get round to do a lap at the end of this session. It's going to be so close. Oh, it's going to be absolutely on the money as to whether or not he gets round in time to do a final flying lap here in this session. He was sat in second in the session just before he disconnected. Let's see what Maz can do here. Is he going to get around in time to start a lap? Where's Flaky at the moment as well? Flaky's just behind Maz out on the track. So we got Maz here just coming in towards the final section of the lap. It looks like he's just about going to get around in time to do a final lap time by the looks of it. 15 seconds left on the clock as he exits the last turn. He's going to cross the line with 10 seconds to spare. So Maz will get a lap in here. Flaky crosses the line in the background. What's it going to be for Flaky? He can't improve, he stays P2, but he's going to get one more run after this. He's got 3 litres of fuel, so he should just about get round to do another lap here. 20 watts out there on the track as well. We've got Ogbar currently on a final run. We've got Mazda, currently is P9 in this session, well off the leaders here. Mazda really struggling in the Porsche here in these GTEs tonight. Smoky Devil is out there in P11. Rompu, DJ Phil also on their final runs of the session, but what is Maz going to do? Flaky and Maz, the main contenders to G's current pole position here. Can they topple the reigning champion of Motive Racing's GTE division, who hasn't had the most convincing of starts to this one, Season 5. And we see Flaky getting sideways there coming out of the hairpin, but just clinging onto it. That will have cost him a 10th or 2 at least. That sideways motion there as he comes into the stadium section now. Maz is just ahead of Flaky on the track and will cross the line first. Oh, we see Maz getting sideways, and that will maybe compromise his chances of taking pole here. See if he still ends up on the front couple of rows. And we see Flaky getting wide. Flaky has abandoned his attempt. He's brought it into the pits. So it's all on this man here, Maz, to see what he can do in the final part of this lap. Ogbar is going to be the next one over the line, I think. Oh no, Dwayne Bop is. Dwayne Bop just coming up towards the line now. What's it going to be for Dwayne Bop? He stays P7. He can't improve. See there in the background we've got Mazda crossing the line. He stays P10, but he improves his lap time a little bit. Ogbar coming over the line, and he moves up to P7 with that. Displaces Dwayne Bop. Now what was the time from Maz as he came over the line there? Oh, it's not nearly good enough for Maz there. He's well off of the pole sitter G. So Maz didn't even get in a valid lap time at the end of that session. So it's going to be the only G starting this one on pole. Flaky second, Camber third. Guys, looking forward to this one. This should be an absolute cracker of a feature race. Here we go then, guys. We're about to go racing here for the feature race for Motor Racing's GTE Championship Round 3. We've got a few comments coming in. Simpe Motorsport saying, come on Fury, Mazda, Emo Guy and Phil. Keegan Welsh vocal in the chat as well. Looks like we're almost lights out here. And we are on the way for the feature race. Looks like G gets away nicely from pole position there. You can see Flaky already trying to cover off Matt Camber as they're coming towards turn 1. We've got Fury up into 4th in the background there ahead of Dande. It looks like Ogbar, the Flying Dutchman, keeping on to 6th place there. Nice start from him as well. Cinderella Tour, Rompu. Looks like Masters up still in P9 at the moment. Ian and running in P10. Looks like we've got a couple of guys going off in the background there. We've got Smokey, DJ Phil, Mazda and Maz. No, sorry. Dwayne Bop, sorry, not Mazda, but lots of those guys coming into problems there at the start of this race, but G leading this race, but just ahead of Flaky at the moment. Camber in the background there, running in 3rd place. We've got Fury already attacking behind Camber, trying to get into that 3rd place here as they come up towards the hairpin for the first time. G managing to hold off Flaky, but is Fury going to make the move on the inside of Camber? It looks like he is. Fury's up into 3rd place by the looks of it. He runs Camber out of road and makes that position up, so great start from Fury in this one. Zande in 5th. Looks like we've got Oakbar running in 6th place at the moment. Cinderella Tour, Rompu, Mazda, Emo Guy, Dwayne Bop, DJ Phil, Smokey Devil, Maz, and Maz has not had a good start to this race. He's down to 14th place, but he started in 14th place, but he hasn't made any positions we would have expected him to in usual circumstances. Smokey Devil and DJ Phil battling over 12th and 13th at the moment though. So G and Flaky have both broken away at the start of this race. They pulled out 2 seconds moment to Camber. Camber has got that position back off of Fury after we saw Fury making it up into 3rd place coming through the hairpin. Zande's managing to hold off Cinderella Tour at the moment. Good battle between these guys shaping up. Ogbar running in 7th with Mazda and Ian just behind him. Dwayne Bop there in 10th place at this point. Smokey Devil, Rompu, DJ Phil and Maz at the back of the field at the moment. It looks like Flaky's got ahead of G. What's happened to G? The only G has spun coming through the final corner, and it looks like he's down to 5th place here, so he's lost positions to Camber, Fury and Zande, and Cinderella Tour is now looking to the inside of him as well. So this is a disaster of a start to this race for G. From pole position here in the qualifying session, it has all gone wrong for him so far in the Black Ford GT. The reigning champion really struggling in round 3 for the feature race at Hockenheim. So Flaky now finds himself a second half ahead here at the front of the field, and it looks like Fury's made another move to the inside there. He's keeping it up the inside of Zande. It looks like G tried to make that move on Zande coming through turn 2, but he couldn't quite make it stick at the moment, so Zande's still sat in 4th place. G is looking like he wants to get on with this and get himself back up into the positions here. You can see him making a move to the left hand side. That's actually Zande having a look at the inside of Fury, but he's a bit too far back. Oh, Zande pushes Fury, and Zande has taken Fury out. It looks like those two coming together. Zande continues without concern. Fury flashes his lights and says, what are you doing? Zande definitely drove a little bit dirty there, I have to say. That looked very much like he was at fault for that one. Fury rightly so not too happy about that, but Flaky leading this race by 1.7 seconds over Camber at the moment. G's finds himself in 3rd place due to a couple of guys having incidents just ahead of him. Cinderella Tour, and it looks like Zande's had a spin. Zande is into the barriers. He gets a little bit too much onto the curb, and Mazda's making a move to the inside here of Fury by the looks of it. He's up into 7th place, so good move there from Mazda. He can now get onto the back of Ogbar and Ian, but it looks like Ogbar and Ian are having a good battle here for 5th and 6th places. A dramatic start to this race. Oh no! It looks like we got Fury sideways. Who is it? Yeah, Fury's off onto the grass. So Fury getting a little bit too much onto the accelerator pedal and getting sideways, and now finds himself behind Zande, but Zande looks like he's coming into the pits. So maybe a drive-through penalty for Zande on lap 2 of this race, because he's pitting early. Obviously the pit window doesn't open until lap 9. Lap 8 or 9 I believe, so Zande entered the pits already here in this race. But Flaky's still leading the way by 2 seconds at the moment to Camber. G running in 3rd at this point. He's got Cinderella Tour just a couple of seconds behind him, but he has already made that move on him. Ian still sat in 5th, just ahead of it. Ogbar, it looks like Ogbar putting the pressure on, and Mazda now closing onto this battle for 5th place. You can see Mazda in the background there, definitely eyeing it up in the Porsche. He was driving in the Ferrari in the sprint race, but obviously as a reserve, he's able to change his car from race to race, and he's currently sat in 7th place as we see Ogbar maybe looking for a little move up the inside of Ian, but he's too far back to make it happen into the hairpin. He has to stick behind him for the time being. Flaky leading this race though by 2.3 seconds over Camber. Camber keeping him very much in sight at the moment, but Flaky's managing this gap. Flaky took the win in the sprint race earlier on, made that move on Fury coming into the hairpin, and he is definitely picking up where he left off. He's hoping to make it 2 wins from 2, possibly a double tonight for Flaky. Got a comment coming in from Smurf J saying, go Ogbar, go! Well, Ogbar's having a good race at the moment, Smurf J. Currently running in 6th place It's just behind Emo Guy at this point, and he's got Mazda right up his chuff though. He's going to have to watch out for Mazda in his rear view mirrors. So Flaky's currently got 2.5 seconds lead at the front of this field as we come over the line to complete lap 3 of this feature race. It's been a dramatic start to this one. Camber still running in second place at this point. G in the background there, you can see completing those podium spots, and he's closing in on Flaky now despite that first lap spin we saw coming into the final corner. G has made a good recovery in this one. Ian currently running in 4th with Ugbar just behind him. Mazda, Dwayne Bop, Fury there you see in 8th place, Smoky Devil and Cinderella Tour, Maz there in 11th, Rompu running down in 12th place, not the greatest of races for him so far. DJ Phil and Zande currently battling over 13th and 14th at this point. So there is your race leader as he comes up towards the hairpin for the 4th time here in this race. Looks like Opar's still got Mazda just behind him. Ian has managed to pull out a bit of a gap to these two over this last lap. He's got a second back to Ugbar and Mazda, and it looks like we've got a move coming up here. We've got Dwayne Bop up the inside of Fury, but he's overshot the hairpin a little bit. Fury's going to want to try and bounce back and try and get the undercut on the exit of the corner, but I think Dwayne Bop has actually managed to pull that off brilliantly there. So Dwayne Bop up into 7th place. Smoky Devil there in 9th. You've got Cinderella Tour and Maz currently battling over 10th place. It looks like Maz is trying to get on with this as quickly as he can, but he's had an absolute torrid feature race so far, and it's very unlucky really because he actually had a disconnection in the qualifying session which dropped him off. Cinderella Tour and Smoky Devil. Oh, it looks like an incident there, and Fury's off. Fury into the... It looks like he's had a spin there coming on the middle part of the stadium section, and he's down to 11th place. So Fury running into all sorts of problems here. As we can see, we've got Maz trying to make the move up the inside of Smoky Devil, and he looks like he's pulled it off. But oh, Smoky Devil responding there, and Maz is round. Maz not happy with that one at all. You could see there Smoky Devil just eased him round a little bit, and now Maz finds himself down in 10th place with Fury all over the back of him. But that looks a little bit dodgy there from Smoky Devil as they're coming through the stadium section. Maz has every right to be flashing his lights and be a little bit annoyed with that one. Still flashing his lights at Smoky Devil as they come down the pit straight. Smoky Devil continuing on his way without concern though by the looks of it. As we see Mazda has now got his mirrors absolutely full of Dwayne Bop. We saw Dwayne Bop making that move up the inside of the hairpin a few laps ago. There's Flaky the race leader, 3 seconds he's got back to Camber in 2nd place. G closing the gap to the leaders a little bit now. He's running in 3rd place, 4 seconds behind the race leader Flaky. We've got Ian still sat in 4th at this point. Obar not too far behind him. Mazda, Dwayne Bop running in 6th and 7th at this point. Dwayne Bop's definitely making gains on this pack though. Cinderella Tour still sat in 8th place. Smoky Devil, Maz, Fury just running just behind these guys at this point. He's going to want to try and bounce back after not the greatest few laps here in this feature race. He was P2 in the sprint race earlier on, lost out on the final lap after leading much of that sprint race. Eventually got overhauled by Flaky at the end. Zande running in 13th place. DJ Phil running at the back there in 14th, minus a front bumper. You can see there he's obviously had a hefty whack with the wall at some point, has DJ Phil. But Flaky there still got a 3.3 second lead, and G has closed in right up onto the back of Camber now. So G might fancy his chances of getting up into that P2 position. We see there Camber a little bit right out of the last corner, and G's up into 2nd place. So he will say thank you very much there, and he can now try and chase down the race leader Flaky. Has he got the pace to do so? We'll have to wait and see. Last time around, G took 0.8 of a second out of the leader Flaky, so he's definitely got the potential to do so. Whether or not he's going to pull this one off, we'll have to wait and see. Ian has pulled out a couple of seconds back to Ugbar, and it looks like Ugbar is having to defend here from Mazda, but Mazda might have had a moment there coming through turn 1, because now he's got Dwayne Bop all over the back of him. You saw Dwayne having a little look, but he thought better of that one. Mazda had to defend the position coming into turn 2, but it's as you were between those guys at the moment. Race leader there, Camber behind G now. He saw G. Oh, he gets a little bit of a twitch there as he came through the middle part of the hairpin, but he gets it quite nicely on the exit still. But G, having made that move on Camber, he's still sat in P2 at this point. Ian there, P4, Ugbar, Mazda. Mazda's now got Dwayne Bop crawling all over the back of him on the exit of the hairpin. Dwayne Bop really on a mission here in this race. Cinderella Tour, Maz. You see there Fury running in P10. He's got ahead of Smoky Devil by the looks of it. So Smoky Devil down to 11th place. Rompu, Zande and DJ Phil running at the back of this field at the moment. So looks like Flaky's still leading this race. G has carved the gap down a bit, just over 3 seconds separating the front two now. and G has actually pulled out 1.2 seconds, 1.4 seconds now over Camber, so it looks like G's definitely got the pace on Camber, having made that move and got himself up into that P2 position. It's just a case of whether G can keep his tyres warm. We saw him having that spin on the opening lap. They should be up to temperature now though, and hopefully we see G making a race of this and taking this fight to Flaky in this feature race. Pit window will be opening in a couple of laps time, but not quite yet. There's Ogbar, the Flying Dutchman, running in P5. Mazda there you see in 6th. He's pulled out a bit of a gap to Dwayne Bop on that last lap though. Mazda responded with 6 tenths quicker than Dwayne. Cinderella Tour, Mazda in 8th and 9th. Fury still running in 10th place at the moment. Good job from Fury. Smoky Devil 11th. Rompu, Sande and DJ Phil there still running in last place at this point. The gap at the front between Flaky and Gio, just 2.7 seconds at this point. G is closing all the time though. Obviously on the previous lap he was 1.1 seconds faster. Flaky's definitely going to be having to watch out pretty soon. Ian's pulled out 3 seconds now to Ogbar in 5th place, so it looks like Emo Guy doing a great job in 4th place there. Ogbar also pulling away from Mazda. It looks like Dwayne Bot's made the move on Mazda. He's up into 5th, 6th place. I didn't actually see what happened to Mazda, but he obviously had a moment. Got a bit of a twitch on coming through the mid part of the stadium. So now Dwayne into 6th, Mazda down to 7th, Cinderella Tour there in 8th place. You got Fury, Maz, Smoky Devil still sticking to the back of Maz, but Fury's obviously made that move there on Maz. So great stuff there from Fury, up another position. Rompu dropping back in 12th place, a really poor feature race for him. Zande likewise, and DJ Phil running in 14th place at the moment. But the gap at the front now down to 2.2 seconds between Flaky and the only G. G is really getting his skates on here in this race. You can see his tyres definitely up to temperature. Flaky lapping in the 1 minute 36s, but G in the low 36s. 7 tenths of a second G took out of Flaky on that previous lap. He's absolutely flying. What does Flaky have left in the tank to try and respond to this? Obviously only lap 8 of this race, 18 laps left to go. These guys have all got to make their mandatory pit stops still. But this race wide open between Flaky, G, and maybe even Camber can keep himself lapping consistently. He might have a chance if these guys start battling it out or tripping over each other in a few laps time when they end up battling. And we see there we've got currently Fury trying to battle here with Mazda by the looks of it. He's trying to hold it around the outside. Mazda up the inside of him though, and Mazda's got that position up into 8th place. Maz watching this unfold just in front of him, but Mazda's doing a great job there. We saw Dwayne Bop getting a little bit loose there on the exit of the corner. He's trying to break away from this pack, but that's not how he's going to do it. He's now got them closing back onto him again. I think Dwayne Bop was trying to get that P6 off the Cinderella Taurus. Mazda has to go defensive on Fury. Fury tried to get back around the outside of him, but he can't quite get it done at the moment. Maz still unable to do anything with these guys at the moment though. Into the second part of the stadium section, Fury having a little look. You're riding on board with Maz. Fury just trying to get that position back off Mazda as quickly as he can. And is he going to have a little look there at the inside? He's going to surely try and poke his nose in there. Mazda gets a little bit wide. Fury retakes the position and looks like Maz is going to try and follow him through as well. Is he going to be able to do it though? It looks like Maz just tried to back out of that one a little bit as Mazda just closed the door on him, but Fury doing a fantastic job there of getting himself back up into 8th place as Camber is the first man to come in for his pit stop here as the pit window is open on lap 8. Fury though up into 7th place and doing a great job. He's now closing up onto the back of Dwayne Bop there. So Fury on a mission to try and recover some lost ground after not so great start to this race in this feature race. Gap at the front between Flaky and G, now 1.4 seconds, so G is ever closing on Flaky. He is making unbelievable gains here in this race. What's he going to be able to do with Flaky at the moment? Flaky obviously took the win in the sprint race. G's going to be so determined to make sure that Flaky doesn't make it a double here for round 3 of the season in the GTE Championship here at Motive Racing. These guys have got a long way gap back to Ian in 3rd place, and Maz, I believe Maz must have, he hasn't been into the pits, has he? I don't think he has. No, so obviously Camber's been in to the pits by the looks of it, so he's now down in 11th place. Camber's going to be hoping to get his foot to the floor and some clear air, but thing is though, Camber hasn't got clear air. That's definitely what he hasn't got. He's got Smoky Devil a couple of seconds up the road from him. Fury, Maz and Mazda battling over 7th, 8th and 9th. So it's not going to be easy for Camber to try and steal the march on Flaky and G, because those two are definitely in clear air, minus each other obviously. So Flaky last time around lost another 9/10 to G. G is really getting hammered down here in this race, as we see Ian coming into the pits for his mandatory pit stop there. He's just bringing it in now. See a flash of the, is he flashing it? No, he's not flashing his lights, it's just his car disappearing behind the fence. So Flaky and G coming into the hairpin, pardon me, for the 10th time here in this race. See, G's lights are so much brighter than Flaky's, they really do glow in the dark, whereas Flaky's are much more subtle. That's the difference between the Ford and the Corvette's headlights. But enough about the LEDs on these cars. Back to the racing. Flaky holding on to the lead, but for how much longer? He's going to be right on the edge, trying to match the pace of G, who's been closing this gap for a number of laps now. Also want to keep an eye on this, and it looks like we've got a move here. Ogbar's looking to the inside. No, sorry, Dwayne Bob's looking to the inside of Ogbar, coming into the hairpin. Is he going to have that move? No, Ogbar in the end gets a better run out of the corner. So Dwayne Bob looked like he had that 4th place potentially, but Ogbar doing a great job of ending off. It looks like Mazda and Fury are side by side here, coming up towards this right hander. Go absolutely flat out through here. Mazda trying to close the door on him. Fury in the end has to back out of that one. Mazda holding on to that 6th place. Fury looking like he really wants it though. Smokey Devil in the background there in 8th place. You've got Camber. Camber's going to be so frustrated now because he's already been into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop, but he's got a train of cars who haven't been in. He's in a completely different race from these guys, but he's going to be really struggling to pick them off here. This race has not gone to plan for Camber at all. This could not have gone much worse for him. And he's now got Maz making a move to his inside as well to boot. Maz is up into 9th place. Camber is going to be so frustrated there in that yellow number 8 Ford GT, because he's dropping back, losing hand over fist, and this isn't the first time this season that this has happened. It happened last week at Zhuhai. He was up there in the early stages, came into the pits to make an early stop and found himself in traffic. As we can see, Ogbar making a move on Maz coming into turn 1. Is he going to be able to pull it off? It looks like he's not going to be able to at the moment. You can see there he's trying to fend off a few cars behind him as well. He's got Fury and Smokey Devil queuing up behind him at the moment. Mazda just about holding on to this P5. Dwayne Bop in the foreground though, managing to pull away from these guys. Cinderella Tour likewise has broken away a little bit, but this is a hell of a battle going on for 5th, 6th, 7th, and at the moment Mazda's doing a great job here of keeping these guys at bay. Is maybe Fury going to have a look to the inside of Ogbar coming up towards the hairpin though? Let's see what happens coming onto the brakes. It looks like we've got Ogbar going defensive coming into the hairpin. Fury's going to have to get it around the long way, and he's not going to be able to do that, surely, no. But still as you were between those guys, Smokey Devil, Maz and Camber in the background. Camber, what is going to be going on through his head at the moment? He's lost so much time to the leaders, and he was battling with Flaky and G for the win before he came in for his pit stop, but it looks like it has all gone wrong for him. I just want to point out that G has had a moment somewhere out on the lap because he's dropped back off of the leader Flaky. He was right up his chuff a few moments ago, but he's now 7.5 seconds behind, so Flaky let off the hook a little bit in that regard. But we're going to go back to this battle here, but for 5th place, currently Mazda holding on to it. Oh, it looks like we got Maz going a little bit wide there. Smokey Devil even going wide there, coming out onto the second part of the stadium section, and he's lost the position to Maz. So Maz is up into 7th place. Smokey Devil now trying to fend off Fury. Fury is in that position to Maz. So Maz making so many positions there on that lap, and we see Ogbar coming into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop. Cinderella Tour is also in as well. So that promotes Dwayne Bop up into 3rd place, Mazda up into 4th. Looks like Mazda's pulling away from Maz and Smokey Devil now. Camber just running in 7th place. Camber's already made his stop in this race, but since making that stop, everything has seemed to go wrong for him so far. As we go back to the leader, Flaky's got a 7.5 second lead over G. So G, obviously with that mistake, lost a bit of time and has dropped off with the race leader Flaky after closing up to him for a number of laps. We don't know if his tyres have maybe gone off a little bit, maybe losing temperature. But Dwayne Bop here, currently sat in 3rd place as he come into the hairpin for the 12th time here in this feature race. Mazda, you see there, still running in 4th. We've got Maz there, 5th place, Smokey Devil and Camber in 6th and 7th. And then it's a long gap back to Zande running in 8th place. Ian, Fury, Ogbar, Rompu, Cinderella Tour have all been into the pits. And what has happened to Cinderella Tour? Oh no! Cinderella Tour is just coming out of the box now. He was running in 3rd place when he came into the pits, but it's all gone horribly wrong for him. He's down in 13th place here in this race. You see there's a Corvette just coming around to lap him as well. That's Flaky there. So Cinderella Tour finds himself a lap down after running high flying in this race earlier on. That is a real shame there for Cinderella Tour. I don't know what's gone wrong with him, but he finds himself well down the order now in this race. That is gutting for him. G took 6/10 out of the race leader Flaky on that previous lap. He's going to try and bring that gap down once again. Twainy Bop currently running in 3rd place with Mazda, Maz, Smoky Devil and Camber in the background there, running in 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Currently though, looks like Twainy Bop doing a good job of holding on to this P3 position. Mazda giving it absolutely everything to try and take that off of him though, as we see Maz having a little look to the inside, and looks like Mazda's making a move to the inside of Dwayne Bob coming into turn 2, but he's trying to defend from Maz at the same time, and Maz is going to try and drive around the outside of Mazda here. Is he going to have it done? It looks like he's going to try and hold it on the inside, gives him a little bump on the back, and it looks like Mazda goes very wide there. Maz definitely helped him off the track, eased him out of the way, and he's lost the position there. So Maz is up into 4th place. Is Maz going to return the position there? I'm sure that Mazda's going to feel a little bit aggrieved about that, because it looked like Maz definitely pushed him out of the way. So we see Maz making a move to the inside of Dwayne Bob onto the hairpin, but he's not a bit too far back to make that move at the moment. Mazda now trying to fend off Smoky Devil. Oh, Smoky Devil's round! Smoky Devil spins it on the exit of the hairpin, so Camber up into 6th place. Smoky Devil getting a little bit too hot onto the throttle there as we go back to the battle for P3. Maz still trying to fend off Dwayne Bob at the moment. What a battle we're seeing, and it looks like Maz is making a move on the inside of Dwayne Bob. So Mazda up into P4. Dwayne Bob there saw him coming late and had to give him the space on the inside. So Dwayne Bob loses the position there to Mazda. But it's oh no, we see that it looks like we've got Camber getting involved in this one as well now. So Camber driving around the outside of Dwayne Bob. Brilliant move there from Camber. Dwayne Bob losing 3 places in the space of a lap. Mazda up into P3 with Mazda right up his chuff though in 3rd and 4th places. What an unbelievable race we've had so far here in this feature race. So Mazda finding himself in 3rd place. Mazda right behind him. Oh no, Mazda's lost it! Mazda is round, coming through the penultimate corner. We saw Camber just giving a little nudge as he came round, but it looks like Mazda's coming into the pits for his mandatory pit stop now. So Dwayne Bob also following him in. That is really unfortunate there for Mazda, and he brings it into the pits to try and limit the damage done by that spin. So Maz, Dwayne and Mazda all coming in on the same lap here. That's released Camber finally into some clean air, but he is 39 seconds off of the leaders Flaky. So I don't think it's going to be the win for Matt Camber this evening. Flaky's got a 7-second gap to G at the moment at the front. Smoky Devil currently running in 4th, just a couple of seconds but down the road from Camber. Zande sat in 5th place. It's been a disaster race for him though so far. Still yet to come in as well as Zande. Ian has already been into the pits and he's come out ahead of all of these guys by the looks of it. So Ian has had an absolute masterstroke of his strategy. I'm sure Ian's been into the pits. He has, hasn't he? I believe he has. I'm pretty sure Ian has been in. He might not have done. Might be a mistake, but I'm pretty sure he has. I will have to maybe double check that one. Oh no, somebody's off in the background. That's a number 51 Ferrari there. That is Maz. He's got Sideboys coming out of the pits. So Maz is now a lap down to 13th place. I didn't actually see what happened there, but he's lost lots and lots of time. Maz was battling over. He was in the thick of it really. He was battling with those guys for what was 3rd place before they came into the pits, but Maz has now lost so much time. I don't know if he had a bit of a mare in the pit stop, but he's now way back down the field. So we see Mazda here trying to fend off Ugbar in the battle for 8th and 9th. These guys 10 seconds behind Fury on the road. And we see Ugbar is going to try and look around the outside here of Mazda, but he can't quite get the move done at the moment. It's Porsche versus Chevy in this little tussle. Fury's mum saying yes, he has pitted lap 9. Thank you Fury's mum for that info. So that means that Ian's in a very good position here in this race, because once we see, oh, he's just coming up on Zande now, so I think Ian's going to be pretty good here for a 4th place finish in this race. Very solid performance from Ian so far. And we see Smoky Devil coming into the pits. He's just coming on the pit exit now. So Smoky Devil emerges ahead of Mazda and Ugbar. What has happened in the pits to these guys? It's been chaos for some of these lads. Really has been unfortunate for a lot of these boys coming in for their mandatory pit stops, as we see Mazda going he's twitching all over the place. Maybe he had a slowdown penalty as he came up towards turn 2, but Okbar can't make the most of it. Cinderella Tour back. Oh, Cinderella Tour's into the wall! Cinderella Tour gets a little bit. Oh no! Cinderella Tour very careless there in his return to the track, and Maz even gets caught up in that one. Cinderella Tour though has had a hefty whack with the wall. You can see his right front headlight has been taken out, and he's down to 13th place here in this race in the green and black Ford GT. Not how he would have wanted that one to go. He was running up high in the early stages of this race, but it's all gone horribly wrong for him. Let's go to the battle for 4th and 5th. Currently Zande's got Ian right behind him. Got to remember that Zande does still need to come into the pits at some point during this race. He came in on the first lap, but that obviously doesn't count. I think that was the drive-through as well. But showing he's got the pace here in this one. 137.4 on that last lap. This one was a 138.2. Laura Sage voicing her support for Smokey Devil here in this one. Smokey currently sat in 7th place at the moment. Not having the best of races here in this one. Driving in the blue Chevy number 6. He's got 8 seconds up the road to Fury. You can see Fury in the foreground just coming through turn 1 now. There's Smokey Devil. And in the background, it looks like Okbar having a look to the inside of Mazda coming up towards turn 1. Is he going to have to move on the brakes? It looks like he's going to put it out the inside. Is he going to overshoot the corner? No, he doesn't. Brilliant move there from Okbar. He's going to try and hold it on the inside. Mazda, it's going to give it absolutely everything to try and keep him to that position. In the background, you can see Dwayne got flashing his lights there as Okbar has the inside for turn 2, but Mazda very late on the brakes. Okbar just tries to outbrake him in the second phase of the corner, but it looks like Okbar has got the move done. Has he? I don't know. He's going to still try and hang around the outside, coming out onto the back straight, and it looks like Okbar has finally got the move done, and now Dwayne Bob wants a bit of this action as well. He's going to pull to the outside. Mazda going defensive here on the run up to the hairpin, but Okbar doing a great job there of getting himself up into that 8th place. But is Mazda going to hold on for this 9th place here? It looks like he's not going to be able to, or is he? Oh, it looks like Mazda there. Oh, Mazda and Okbar come together, and Mazda there very sportsmanlike. Oh, lots of chaos going on there. It looks like Okbar ended up sideswiping Mazda there on the exit of the corner after Mazda was waiting for him, and Okbar's now waiting. So this has caused chaos here, lots and lots of confusion. But you see there Dwayne and Maz both making their way through up into 8th and 9th. Fury also managed to pass them as well while that was going on, but Okbar and Mazda sorting themselves out there and causing even more chaos. Dramatic racing throughout the field tonight, guys, here in this feature race. As we see Zande's actually pulled out a gap to Ian despite being a pit stop down on Ian at this point in the race. Still staying just ahead of him at the moment. Ian keeping him very much within his sights. Gap at the front between Flaky and G. It's currently 6.5 seconds, so G's got a bit of work to do if he wants to get this race win. Both of these guys still need to come in for their mandatory pit stops, do Flaky and G, so they've got to do that at some point over the next 7 laps. Zande's still sat in 4th, just ahead of Ian at this point in the race. Fury looks like he's got Smokey Devil crawling all over the back of him. Smokey makes a move to the inside of the hairpin. It's just Fury see him. Fury's going to try and hold him off, but Smokey looks like he's going to... Oh no, Smokey's lost the car on the exit of the corner. He had tried to pull off that move up the inside, but he's got a little bit too hot onto the throttle and loses that position to Fury. And it looks like we've got Dwayne coming under pressure from Maz. Maz has a little look to the inside of the hairpin. Is Maz going to go for the dive? It looks like Dwayne sees him coming, and Maz in the end has to back out. But there was a little bit of contact there between those guys. Okbar in the background there trying to fight it out with Mazda and Rompu. Rompu has somehow found himself battling over 10th place now after a horrible start to the race for him. He's managed to get himself back into this one. Cinderella Tour, after too many incidents for him, down in 13th place, dropping off of those guys a bit. Zande definitely putting out the gap to Ian here in 4th place at the moment. And it looks like G's made another mistake because he's now 13 seconds off of the race leader Flaky. So Flaky surely has just got to bring this one home now. And G's dropping back into the clutches of some lapped cars by the looks of it. He's going to have to get his act together to avoid being unlapped. But Maz Twainy Bop currently battling over 8th and 9th places there. You see them just coming through the last corner now. A few bumps in this second race, this Simply Motorsport. Absolutely, it's been not the greatest show from some of the drivers out there tonight. Ogbar managing to hold off Mazda and Rompu in a battle for 10th, 11th and 12th. There's Cinderella Tour, not actually too far behind those guys at the moment, so he could bring himself back into contention for a top 10 spot if he keeps his head in the game. And we see Mazda and Rompu giving it everything. A bit of contact there as they came through turns 3 and 4, but at the moment Mazda holding on to that 11th place. Been a chaotic race for Mazda here in this feature race, it really has. See Maz all over the chuff of Smoky Devil at the moment. Mazda still holding off Rompu in the battle for 11th and 12th places here. Gap at the front, 13 seconds between Flaky and G. Flaky's pretty much got this one signed, sealed and posted in this feature race. It's more than likely going to be the double for him tonight for this round 3. And Flaky's just coming up on some traffic as well, so he's got to be wary of that. That appears to be Fury and Smoky Devil, who are still battling over 6th and 7th places here. Fury doing a good job of keeping onto that place, and we see Smoky making a wild move to the inside. Oh, Fury's lost it! Fury bins it on the exit of the corner, and the race leader Flaky manages to make his way through unscathed. But Fury there, maybe distracted by Smoky Devil's sudden move to the inside of the track, ultimately lost control of the car. Smoky's got Flaky coming up on him right about now, so he's going to have to be wary of the blue flags in just a second. Gap 12 seconds between Flaky and G. Out the front, top 2 giving us a show, and we see Flaky getting a little bit loose there coming out of the hairpin, but gathers it together. He's got 6.5 laps left to go here in this race. He's pretty much got this one signed and sealed. He should be home and host here in this feature race. Smoky's pulled out a bit to Fury here in the battle for 6th and 7th. Maz just ahead of Twainy Bop at the moment. Actually, he's pulled out a bit of a gap to Twainy Bop. Flying Dutchman there. Ogbar just ahead of Mazda and Rompu. This has been the story in 10th, 11th and 12th for the last few laps really. But is Rompu going to be able to try and get past Mazda here? Mazda was running up high in the early stages of this race, but it hasn't really gone to plan in the later part. It's ran into too many problems here in this race. So Flaky's still leading this race at the moment. And he looks pretty comfortable at the front. He's got 11 seconds back to G. Surely just managing out this race. G's had the pace at times, but as we just see him putting a lap there on Fury. And Fury's lost it again. Sorry, it's not Fury. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. That's Maz there. So G was just putting a lap there on Maz, and Maz loses control of the car, gets sideways, which may end up dropping him back into the clutches of Ogbar, Rompu and Mazda. And looks like Rompu's got ahead of Mazda there, up into 11th place. It can Mazda try and fight back, coming down towards the hairpin. You can see these guys have got the slipstream of Ogbar just up ahead of them, and we see now we've got DJ Phil moving well out of the way, allowing these guys to make the move up ahead of them. And is Ogbar going to be able to hold on for these guys? Is Mazda going to go for the middle of the inside of Rompu? It looks like he's got it done there. Mazda on brakes up into 11th place. Rompu trying to hold it around the outside, and Rompu will have the slipstream of Ogbar up ahead of him as well, so that will help him out in trying to hold on to this position. But Mazda's surely got the inside, and he's up into 11th place. These guys trading places there, and Mazda coming out on top in that battle for now. But still 5 laps left to go here in this race. Anything can happen here. These guys will only complete 25 laps due to the fact that they're a lap down on the race leader Flaky, who's just coming over to start lap 22. So yeah, 5 to go here at Hockenheim for the feature race. Flaky took the race win in the sprint race, made a last lap move on Fury after hunting him down for much of the race. Fury has had a total nightmare here in this one, and it looks like he's just been lapped by Flaky. He's got to 80 bot very much. No, he's just behind Smoky Devil, excuse me. It's in the slipstream though. Is Fury going to chance a move coming into the hairpin? You can see Smoky Devil going defensive pretty early on here. He's going to try and force Fury round the long way if he can. P6 and 7, these two at the moment. Smoky Devil goes to the inside, defending the position of Fury. Looks to the outside. Is he going to try and go for the undercut on the exit of the corner? No, there's not enough space on the inside. Smoky Devil holding on to that position very nicely at the moment and maintaining P6 here in this race. Flaky still leading this race at the moment. 11 seconds is his gap out. It's back to G. Camber, best of the rest at the moment. It's important to remember that Zande still needs to come into the pits because his first pit stop was on lap 1, and that was obviously before the mandatory pit stop phase, which begins on lap 8. So he does need to come in again to avoid being disqualified from the race. Also, Flaky and G still need to make their mandatory pit stops as well, let's not forget. Looks like Smokey and Fury still battling over 6th and 7th here. Fury's got the run coming down the pit straight. Is he going to think about a move coming into turn 1? I think he's a bit too far back at the moment. Can he get a good run coming through turn 1? No. Smoky Devil gets a much better run there and will comfortably not have to worry about any late moves from Fury coming into turn 2. G in the pits. So our man in P2 bringing it in. The reigning champion of the GTE division. Definitely struggling to compete with the pace of Flaky. We've seen G be fastest man on track at a number of points tonight, but unfortunately for him, he just hasn't really had the consistency. He has made a couple of mistakes, which has dropped him out of contention for this race win. Flaky has been pretty much faultless in this feature race. He's reaping the benefits at the moment, and we see somebody in the background there who Flaky's just put a lap on, getting sideways. That's Smoky Devil. He's still trying to defend from Fury. Fury looks to the outside of his flat-out right-hander, but he's not going to. Surely he's no. Oh, he still hits it on the outside onto the curb, and Fury up into 6th place. What a move there from Fury! But Smoky Devil's not going to get this one up lightly. But Fury there making a fantastic move up into 6th place. Smoky Devil had to concede that one. Brilliant racing between these boys. In the meantime, we've got Ogbar closing up onto the back of Cinderella Tour in the battle for 9th and 10th places. These guys a couple of seconds ahead of Dwayne Bop on the road. Maz is pulling out the gap to these guys now in 8th place though. So it looks like the race leader is coming into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop. Here he comes. Flaky stops in the box. G's just coming in towards the last few corners now. Flaky should comfortably hold on to this race lead. He had 10 seconds back to G when he came in, and there he is, exiting the pit lane to reassume the race lead. 3 laps left to go for Flaky before he takes the double for round 3 of the season here at Motor Racing's GTE Championship tonight at Hockenheim. What a performance from Flaky. Hasn't really put a foot wrong all evening. Flaky there coming through the S's, and G not in sight. 11 seconds behind him on the track. Camber comes out in P3, so he's 25 seconds behind Flaky out on the track. Zande running in 4th. Now Zande needs to come into the pits this lap, I believe. Or it can be the one after actually. But he needs to be bringing it in pretty sharpish. Because Zande did come into the pits to make his stop at the end of lap 1. Now obviously you can't come in before the mandatory pit window opens on lap 8. So presume that was a drive through for Zande on the first lap. He still needs to come in at some point. Looks like we've got Ogbar all over the back of Cinderella Tour now. in this battle for 9th and 10th places. In the background there, you got 20 bots still sat in 11th place, trying to close in on these guys if you can. Looks like G's made another mistake, so he's now 16 seconds behind Flaky. The gap was 11 seconds a few moments ago. He's got a lap car behind him as well. That looks like it's Mazda, so G's just put a lap on Mazda there. Flaky starts his penultimate lap here. But still unable to make that move on Cinderella Tour just at this point. Wave up in the background, Rompu running in 12th place, and Mazda, it all went wrong for Mazda in the last part of the race, to be fair. Really has struggled in that Porsche tonight in this feature race. We know he's one of the quickest in the GT3 category here on Project Cars 2, but these GTEs are a whole different kettle of fish. There's DJ Phil running in P14. DJ Phil, one of our regulars here at Motive Race. It always turns out for every single one of our categories, you can always bank on DJ Phil being out on track, and it's great to have him once again with us for another evening of racing. Big thank you, Phil, for always joining us out on the track. And if you guys didn't already know, DJ Phil is actually a radio presenter and a DJ in his spare time. Flaky coming over the line to start the final lap of the race. G 15 seconds behind him on the track. We've got Camber. Looks like he's going to complete the podium tonight. Zande's got to come in now, otherwise he will be disqualified. Is he going to bring it in though? That's the question. He did come into the pits on the first lap, but the pit window doesn't open until lap 8 here at Motive, so he's staying out. So if I'm pretty sure Zande hasn't come in since lap 8, so I think he will incur a penalty, possibly a disqualification from the race results for that one. Where's the race leader, Flaky? He's just coming towards the tail end of the final lap now. It's been a brilliant try from Flaky tonight, it really has. There's this man, the only G, reigning champion of the GTEs. Hasn't really gone to plan so far this season for him. He's got an uphill battle if he wants to overhaul Flaky in the final, or in the second half of the season, obviously round 3 being the halfway point tonight. But here is Flaky coming in towards the final part of the stadium section here for this feature race. Sprint race was brilliant from him. He managed to overhaul Fury right at the end, made that move coming into the hairpin. The feature race has been slightly more simple for him. It's been a runaway victory for Flaky as he crosses the line here at Hockenheim to take another win. It's the double tonight for Flaky here at round 3. What a performance from this man. G coming round to finish in 2nd place. He'll be disappointed he wasn't able to take the win after he had the pace. He was fastest man out on track for a lot of tonight, but ultimately couldn't match Flaky in terms of consistency. Camber coming round to finish in 3rd place. A good result from him in the yellow Ford GT number 8. Crossing the line, a good result from Camber. Zande crosses the line in 4th, but I think Zande will incur a penalty for coming in before the pit window opened. Ian's going to come round in 5th, probably be promoted to 4th once all is said and done. Where's Fury? Fury's just coming in towards the final part of the lap now. Not too bad a result for Fury. P6, some good points. Finished 2nd in the sprint race earlier on. It was a hell of a performance in that one. Got so unlucky not to take the W earlier in the sprint race, but crosses the line and he bins it into the wall before the actual finish line. But finishes 6th. Smoky Devil and Maz fighting out to the line. Smoky Devil just edges out Maz on the track, but Maz takes the 7th place based on Smoky Devil's penalty there. Cinderella Tour, Oakbar, Rompu, 20-bot Mazda. All the lap down. DJ Phil looks like he's just coming through the last... Oh! That's the wrong way, Phil. Wrong way, wrong way. Right, yep. No! Oh! So DJ Phil, the last man to finish here. P14 in this race. Our regular driver here at Motive Racing, and DJ, also a radio presenter for Radio Serene, crosses the line in 14th place. Flaky G and Camber, the podium finishes tonight. What a race we had tonight here on the Motor Racing channel. Really was a thriller. Congratulations to Flaky on taking the victory. Well deserved, dominant in the end, and he's looking very good for taking this GTE championship here at Motive in season 5. What can G, the reigning champion and double champion, do in these final 3 races? We'll have to wait and see over the course of the rest of the season. Camber doing a great job once again, getting on the podium. I think Zande will be disqualified because I believe he came into the pits too early before the pit window starts on lap 8. But I want to say a big thank you to all the drivers out on track for giving us the action tonight. Also a big thank you to the guys who watched live on the YouTube stream and on Facebook as well. If you guys enjoyed what you see, then please leave a like on this video. We saw quite a lot of people watching tonight, so if we can get the same number of likes as we have viewers, then we're definitely going places in that one. But from all of us here at Motive Racing, I want to wish you a good evening. Hopefully you enjoyed the action, and hopefully see you tomorrow for the Clios, live from 7 PM for Tier 2, followed by Tier 1 at 8. But guys, we're going to get off. Have a good evening, and we'll see you for the next one.